is Arnoud, whizbiz.com, and today I would like to talk about these little micro servos. I recently needed one for a project, but it turned out that although I have saved 4 broken servos, all my working servos were in use, for example in this robot cat. It contains no fewer than 12 of those little SG90 servos for the legs and another one for the head. So yes, there is a total of 13 servos here in use, and I didn't really want to remove them for a small experiment for another project. Of course, I searched around, but all micro servos, such as the MG90 or the SG90, turned out to be in use. What I did have was a bag with 4 servos that I had set aside at some point because they no longer worked. I had already wanted to throw them away, but I kept them anyway, thinking I might try to repair them later. Because, hey, maybe after all it was just a broken wire or a broken part that could be replaced. So I tried these broken dead servos again on my servo tester. But it soon became clear that they hadn't repaired themselves in the meantime. None of the 4 worked. Only one of the larger model servos worked. But none of the micro servos was still functioning. This was a total of 4 SG90 servos that no longer worked and was basically dead. A quick search of YouTube videos on repairing broken servos revealed that disconnection of the wires inside the servo is a common problem. There appear to be countless YouTube videos showing how to re-solder the wires and repair your servo that way. But would it be really that simple in my case? I just feared not. I had only opened one of the servos to check this, and the wiring of it seems completely fine. The circuit board simply showed the 5 volts supply voltage, and the yellow signal wire was also undamaged. Yet that servo didn't make a sound and seemed completely dead. Because I really was in need of a micro servo, I decided to make a little more effort this time and take the servo further apart, so I could examine this circuit board. Perhaps the servo could be revived if I could replace a motor driver or a differential amplifier, and maybe it was something as simple as a broken voltage regulator or something similar. In the meantime, I opened 2 of the 4 broken servos. I opened the housing and removed the plastic top and bottom lids. The wiring seemed fine, and I connected the servo to the tester again. At that point, the servo was still not working. Then I removed the gears and pushed out the motor and the circuit board and potentiometer. And then I noticed something very strange when I connected the servo to the tester again. The little motor came back to life and started running again. When I reassembled the servo, without doing any other repair, it came back to life and was fully functional again. All I had done was remove the gears and the link to the potentiometer to apparently break some kind of magical deadlock. The servo was alive again. I repeated that exact same scenario with the second servo, and that one repaired itself magically as well. So that's the reason I've put on my video camera now, and the result will be this video. So now I have 2 more micro servos left that are dead, and I haven't checked these yet, so it might still just be a broken wire, but secretly, of course, I hope that these can also be magically reborn with the same procedure. Opening a servo is pretty easy. All you need is a knife and cut the sticker on the side, on both sides, in fact. And then you can remove, of course, the lids on the top and the bottom. Let me give it another small cut, and then I'll probably be able to get the top and bottom lids off so we can look inside. There it goes. And this will enable me to lift off the bottom lid that comes free from the wire, and the top lid that's has been covering the gearbox. Let's put it aside. And here we have our naked servo without any cover. Well, Only the top gear, where you attach the servo arm, seems to be made of metal. That's where the servo arm goes, but the rest of the gears seems just plastic to me. I think I've bought it as a Metal Gear MG90, so in that respect it's a bit of a rip-off perhaps. But back to the subject, let's check if it still works or if it's still dead. Well, it is still dead. It's not working, everything's connected correctly, but it's not functioning. So the next big question is, does it have any broken wires? Because almost all the repair videos on the internet state that that is always the case. Well, I can measure 5 volts on the PCB over here, so no problem there. Everything's connected just fine and it's not functioning. And because the signal wire seems connected correctly too, it's not gonna be the easy fix of just resoldering some wires for me this time. On the PCB board in the servo housing are only a few components, and what stands out in particular are the two 8-pin SMD chips. Unfortunately, the one on the bottom has no marking. It's probably a differential amplifier for the feedback of the potentiometer position. And there is a chip on the other side. Inside it has the inscription KC8102-2004A. Well, given the pin out, that must be a PWM driver chip for the motor. Unfortunately, I can't find any information about the circuit board online. I searched, but I found nothing. Probably these are all proprietary chips for this PCB and for this servos. But should there be anyone that has some schematics or more information, please leave a comment. It's always nice to have some more information. So let's strip the servo a little bit more because it was not working. We're gonna remove the gears and now we have to push it out of the little plastic casing. That takes a bit of fiddling. Yes, I guess it's coming out. And here we have our bare servo. This is actually the functional basis of the servo. Small motor and a potentiometer that provides the feedback. This is the motor. Here we have our potentiometer. And that feedback of that potentiometer is of course processed in, I guess, this little differential amplifier here. And another chip for the pulse width modulation translation to, well, motor voltage, I guess, driving the motor. Some other stuff like a transistor is on there, a small capacitor, not too much, but I'm very interested in the schematics, so should anybody have these, please leave a comment. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a drum roll because I'm gonna connect this and let's see. Aha! I hope you can hear it. It's rotating and it's working. So how come? The only thing I can think of is that the gearbox that we removed is in some way blocked or clogged together, disabling the motor to run. So I have done nothing. I just opened the case and that's it. So let's see what happens if we build it together again. So we click it in. So this is also the proof, of course, I have to need the other part. This is also the proof that the wires were perfectly connected and there was no problem with soldering on these or breaking these connections here. So this is a totally new concept. Again, I've never seen this on the internet. Everybody who claims to repair these things does only check the wires, and if they're lost and disconnected, they resolder them, and they have a video with 55k views. But this is totally different, and I don't even understand why it works. The only thing I can make up is that it's clogged, that it has a clogged gear or something like that. But let me first reinstall the gearbox. Will I succeed? Yeah, I will succeed. Yeah. Okay, so the gearbox is back in place again. Let me add one of these. Where is it? One of these little things so that you can clearly see what's going on. Let's reconnect the thing. Now, how about that? It is working again. I'm not totally sure what's going on here. So if anybody knows, by just opening a micro servo like this and have it again come to life, please let me know. So before I build this together, let me try the last of the 4 servos that was not working, and let's first see if it is not working still. So that goes. Oh, that's weird. Oh no, it's okay. So I'll reconnect this. Doing the wire, the screws in a moment. So we have, for this video, we have only one left. We have only one broken servo left, and I'll prove this to you. Well, I don't even have to put this on. You can clearly see that it does not work. Ah, that's interesting. Here is one of the normal candidates. Oh, that's a good thing for this video. Look at it. This is a normal patient. It has its wires disconnected. So the final test, that is soldered, and let's see if that, yeah, it is. I hope you can hear it is running again. So if we build this one together, it will be working as well. So I'm very curious now if it works again after soldering the wires. This servo also had the gearbox been removed and put back by me, and the good thing it is working. There is something I noticed, however, and perhaps that could explain why I got the other 3 working. When you do a close look, we have a close look at the gearbox, you see that the last gear has a knob, has a small protruding knock over there, and that will of course be able to run into the other gear here. So it could not be assembled in any way you like. So I might have been lucky with the other 3, with these other 3 that I just opened, removed the gearbox and put it back and got it working again, by having the knock over here. And perhaps that is an explanation. Should an MG or an SG 90 servo be able to get into some kind of situation or state in which the knob over here is clutched against this other gear, but it is thinking it has to move that way and it's running itself into a corner, and that could explain the heat of the motor. But I have no clue how a servo that I've not opened before and that was just working pretty fine could come into a situation in which this little knock what is it? Knock. Runs into the other gear and prevents it from working. So it seems dead. And when you remove it and you put it back, of course you have to put it back like this. This is the neutral way. So it can go either way now for about, what is it, 60 degrees, I guess. Yeah, that could be a reason. That could be a solution why, by just removing the gearbox, put it back. But I'm not completely convinced. So if you have any clues how I got these 3 other servos back to life by just opening it, removing the gearbox, and that's it. But this bothers me, and I'm very curious what happens here. So as anybody knows why I got these three servos alive again by just opening them, well, disassembling the gearbox and put it all together, please let me know. Please let me know. And I hope that you don't throw away your dead servos like that. And first, open them. And hopefully, it's as easy as a disconnected wire. But this is even more work to restore than to just opening it and closing it. So, if anybody knows, I hope you can do your can breathe new life into your servos with this little trick. And I hope you enjoyed the video. See you again next time. Until then, happy hacking!